Welcome, everyone, to our weekly AP Top 25 taken from the John Wooden Club at Mackey Arena in Purdue. On Monday night, I've got the Iowa at Purdue game on Big Ten Network. On Friday night, I was in the middle of the scrum for Northwestern's overtime upset. Purdue, they were number one then. They are not number one now. As you see on your screen, Purdue 4. Arizona, which, by the way, will play Purdue in Indianapolis on December 16th. I love the fact that all these teams are playing each other here in the top 10, top 25 in the first 2 months of the season. Number one, 1 week after Purdue was the new number one, after they won the Maui Invitational, relocated to Honolulu because Kansas lost and ended up losing to Marquette, which Purdue beat. That domino, Purdue gets number one. Non-conference 10 play Friday night, overtime, 31 points, National Player of the Week, Boo Buie, and Northwestern upsets Purdue for the Purdue one at Welsh Ryan, court storming in Evanston. So Arizona, they become number one. They've got a great couple Saturdays coming up. This Saturday, they're going to play host to us. The following Saturday, as I mentioned, they will play Purdue in Indianapolis. Who's number two? Kansas. As you see on your screen, the Jayhawks beat UConn Friday night. It's a great night, Friday night in college basketball, at Fog Allen. So they move up to number two. Houston, which earlier in the week beat Xavier on the road. They are number three. Purdue 4. UConn 5. There's no shame in losing at Fog Allen in a late possession game. Baylor still undefeated at 6. Gonzaga, who I have rocketed up my polls after the way they played against USC in a victory in Las Vegas. They're 7. Marquette 8. No shame in losing a rivalry game at Wisconsin, which, by the way, now is in the poll at 23. You see North Carolina, which had a great week. They knocked off Tennessee rather handily. They're at number 9. Creighton, big win on Sunday over Nebraska. 10, Florida Atlantic won its tournament round robin affair. The Field of 68 did. They have got at number 11. I will be there tomorrow night, meaning Tuesday night. Number 11, Florida Atlantic against number 20, Illinois, at the Jimmy V Classic at Madison Square Garden. By the way, that's the first game. The second game is number 5, UConn against number 9, North Carolina. Hubert Davis loves bringing the Tar Heels to Madison Square Garden. 12, Texas. 13, Colorado State. We saw the new net rankings. Colorado State is a top 10 team. They beat Colorado this week, and they beat Washington. BYU at 14. Cougars undefeated, looking like they're ready to go into the Big 12. Miami 15. Thought they could be lower after getting hammered by Kentucky, which is 16, which, by the way, lost at home to Wilmington, Tennessee drops to 17. You could have dropped them further, much further, because they got obliterated by Carolina. I do think they're tired. James Madison holding steady in the teens. Oklahoma undefeated. Porter Moser off to his best start in Norman. The UC Illinois, A&M, they had a rough week as well. Duke lost twice, so you could easily have dropped them out. They lost at Arkansas and at Georgia Tech to open the ACC. Okay, 23, 24, 25. 23 and 24, let's talk about that for a minute. Wisconsin, glad to see the Badgers, or just did, which was knock off Marquette at home. That was coming off a week before where they beat Virginia and SMU to win a tournament down in Fort Myers. And then finally, the top 25. Look, I got Clemson in the top 10 the way they're playing right now. Clemson is our national team of the week, our March Madness national team of the week. Because you know what Clemson did? Clemson went to Alabama and won. Then they opened ACC play on the road and went to Pitt and won. That's 2 road wins this week for Clemson. They should have been higher than 24. They're our national team of the week. You know who's not in this poll? Northwestern. There you go, team of the week, Clemson. Flip it now to our player of the week I mentioned earlier, Boo Buie, 31 points in that overtime win over Purdue. Northwestern should have been ranked, okay? Northwestern should have been ranked. Mistake there. Don't understand it. Before I want to get to your questions, I want to go to our games of the week. Then we're going to review my Power 36. So we're going to do games of the week, questions by Power 36. If we can pop our games of the week, look at this. I mentioned this. So I want to just follow up. Carolina, UConn, Jimmy V Classic. UConn in Madison Square Garden. It's basically Store South. Big time game. Carolina, as I said, Hubert Davis loves being there. There's a lot of alums for Carolina in Madison Square Garden, in New York area. Texas at Marquette, that's part of the Big East, Big 12 challenge. Last year, obviously, Texas in the Big 12. Max Asmus, Tyrese Hunter. You've got Tyler Kolek and Cam Jones. I love that matchup in that one. Illinois at Tennessee. How about this road trip for Illinois? They had Illinois, FAU, Tuesday night. They just won at Rutgers, so they stayed on the road. They're in the New York area. Then they're going to probably go home, I guess, for a couple days and then go to Knoxville. Missouri at Kansas. Love that this rivalry is back. We need this in college basketball. Love that it's back for Missouri and Kansas. It's a tough task there for Dennis Gates. Cincinnati and Xavier. That rivalry never disappoints. Crosstown shootout. This time in Cintas Center. And Wes Miller's got a squad. Undefeated. I have them in my Power 36. You'll see that moment. BYU at Utah. The Holy War. This is one of the best rivalries in men's college basketball. I've been to a number of these games early in my career. Love this rivalry. I go back to the late, great Rick Majerus, Roger Reed. They hated each other. The fan bases hated each other. Next year, this is back to being a conference game. Alabama versus Purdue in Toronto. Purdue, this is going to be coming off of this game that I'm at on Monday night against Iowa. Zach Edey homecoming. Alabama's reeling a little right now. That should be a de facto home game for Zach Edey win for Purdue. We'll see what happens. There you see the FAU-Illinois game. Wisconsin at Arizona, I mentioned that. Badgers, Greg Gard challenging this team. I love that. Okay, Arizona, they'll be tested as a number one, but it's at McHale, one of the best home courts in the country. And then South Carolina at Clemson. Normally, that's not as big a game. South Carolina is undefeated. Lamont Paris doing a great job so far. Undefeated, but they haven't played as many teams that are high quality. They did beat a decent GW to get to 7-0, I believe. And Clemson. I had them in the teens last week. I got them in the top 10 now, our team of the week. Those are my top 10. There were so many other good games on Saturday that I had to sort of slice off. I mean, you've got Arkansas, Oklahoma this week. That's in Norman. You've got Providence, Oklahoma. You got Villanova, K-State. You got Iowa State. Didn't make my list, but I love that game. It's hard to sort of drop us some of these, but there's some really good games. If you go to ncaa.com, you'll see my full list of games that I think outside of these top 10. All right, before we go back to my Power 36, I want to take some questions here. Then we're going to show compare and contrast. Okay, Kentucky behind Miami's Wild. I agree with you, Dip and Dill. Big mistake by AP Top 25. Thank you, Wyatt Coomer. Where's Ohio State? Where I have Ohio State in my top 25. You'll see that momentarily. How is Virginia not ranked? By the way, again, good questions you're going to see here momentarily. Duke is ranked, but Arkansas isn't. Wow. Again, you're going to all see this. See, these are questions that I had that I put in my top 25, my Power 36, and they're not there. The Clemson disrespect is crazy, Luke Spitzer. I agree with you. No one can deny I've been on the Tigers for the last couple of weeks. Baylor should be top 5. You're going to see where I had them. Purdue's still overrated. I don't know about that. It was a hard game. Conference opener. Rock and Welsh Ryan. They're good. Okay. South Carolina, where are they? Guess what? You're going to see in a moment. UT should be lower than 17. Tyler Henderson, Duke, what's he saying? Duke lacks aggressiveness. We'll see. That's a hard road trip. I think they still should have beaten Georgia Tech. All right. I want to get to more of your questions in a moment, but we keep teasing this. Let's show my Power just to compare and contrast. Okay. You're going to see these questions. I'm answering them for you. All right. First in the top 12. Right off the bat, Clemson at 8. 8. Okay. Pretty close. I flipped UConn and Purdue. I had Houston a little further down than AP, but Houston I think is still really good. They went over Xavier. I'm waiting for the Cougars. Their competition is going to rise a little bit more. The teams above them I think have played better teams so far. FAU, Marquette, Texas, Colorado State. Great job by Nico Medved. Let's flip it to 13 on down. Here's where you're going to see some differences with me, and it's way back up. Wisconsin, 14. Win over Marquette. Ohio State, not in the AP top 25. They're 18 right here. BYU, Oklahoma. Arkansas, you asked for Arkansas, you got Arkansas. 21 in my poll. Virginia, you asked for. 22 in my poll. Ole Miss beat Memphis. They're not ranked. 23 in my poll. 24, Northwestern, not ranked. I got them ranked. Let's flip the last 25 to 36. At 25, okay, from 25 to 36, you'll see, again, schools that I've respected and believe, excuse me, that should be ranked. And they're not. If we can show 25 to 36 here momentarily, just calling for it. There we go. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, Kentucky, South Carolina. So I had them right outside. Miami, San Diego State, Memphis, Duke. As you see, I dropped Duke. They lost 2 this week. TCU with the Busby to beat Georgetown. Auburn lost at App State. Glad they played at Tennessee. Cincinnati, I at least gave them some love, undefeated. And there's Princeton, undefeated. Princeton in the top 10 in the net that was released earlier. Nevada, Steve Alford still. I also really considered, do I put New Mexico in? Do I do Providence? Butler's off to a good start with Thad Matta. So there's a number of schools I was really wrestling with at this point where to put in. Let's go back to a couple of questions here. So you can see that Colorado State is the real deal. You're right, Jacob Rowe. Isaiah Stevens is one of the best point guards in the country. Duke says we don't, diehard fan, we don't deserve to be ranked. I have them in the 26 to 36 grouping. James Madison seems high. I know I wrestled with this. Still undefeated. Kept them at 17. That's where they are. We'll see. Baylor needs to be 1 or 2. Big 12 most competitive conference by far. Think about this with the Big 12. Kansas, Baylor, Houston, Texas, TCU and Oklahoma, TCU, BYU, Cincinnati. I'm already at, where am I at? 8. All 8 could be in. I like the Tar Heels right now, Shamel. Like the way they've got better chemistry. I'm looking forward to seeing them in person on Tuesday night. Colorado State, New Mexico is going to be insane games, says Biggs. I agree. I think Colorado State, San Diego State, also Colorado State, Nevada. Thoughts on the Aztecs? I'm concerned. Jaden Ledee is, by the way, a first-team All-American right now. Game winner against UC San Diego. Best conference in the nation right now, Thrasher. It's Big 12 1. It is probably Big East 2, SEC 3, Big 10 4, ACC 5, Pac-12 6. That's how it would go right now at this moment in time. All right. Hasta la muerte. Boo Booey is legit. That's coming from a Purdue fan. Like to see it. KU not better than Purdue? Yeah, we'll see. I mean, better win this week. Where are the Buckeyes? They're in my poll. They're not there. Where do I see IU finishing this season? Big week coming up. They play Auburn, and they got Kansas at home December 16th. I'll be there for that. Looking forward to that. I think IU will be bubblicious. That's where I think they're going to be. Andy, where's New Mexico in your top 36, says Biggs. They were literally right outside. Right outside. Yeah, you're saying ACC over the SEC. I'm not seeing it at this moment, but it's close. Mountain West, top of the Mountain West is equal to the Pac-12 right now, if not better. Iowa State is right there. I think they're going to be a bubblicious team in the Big 12. Good, a big game coming up against Iowa. Cincinnati, Alex says, I got them on Power 36 undefeated. We'll see how they do in the road game at Xavier. Terrence Black, where is Ole Miss? I have Ole Miss. They beat Memphis. I have Ole Miss in my top 25. Go to the Power 36 March Madness and all our social media platforms. So, yeah, Luke, I put some respect on Ole Miss. I ranked them. Thank you. and Providence. I got them right on the outside. All right, so here we go. We've gone 20, I think. So let's wrap it up. This week, let's go back. Can I talk to our producers real quick? Let's flip back to the games to watch, because this will determine what we talk about next Monday at this time at 1 o'clock. All right, Eastern time. So we go back to games to watch. The Wisconsin-Arizona game. If Arizona wins, they're number one next week. If they lose, Kansas doesn't have a big game this week. Oh, excuse me, they do. They play Missouri. Well, it's right in front of me. I think they're going to beat Missouri. So I think Kansas then becomes one. But it easily could be 1-2 Arizona, Kansas. We're going to see a lot of this shuffling over the next couple of months. What happens with UConn, Carolina? I think that'll really determine what happens with the poll. Purdue with the home Iowa, Alabama, and Toronto. I think they win both. We'll see what happens. Cincinnati wins at Xavier. They should be in the top 25. If BYU wins at Utah, they should climb higher. Texas, Marquette will have an interesting thing on the poll. Illinois, Tennessee, same thing. Clemson, South Carolina, another interesting poll game, if you will. And same with FAU, Illinois. These are all really good games for college basketball, for the polls, and so on. So appreciate all your time. Go to @the Andy Katz on Twitter X, The Real Andy Katz on Instagram. That's where you can follow me. And then Bleacher Report app, March Madness MBB for all our coverage at NCAA.com. Appreciate all you. Great engagement. We'll talk again next Monday, 1 o'clock Eastern time on the same channel.